for his assistance so that we can live in peace and be able to move about doing our own activities in the state. As well as also to thank Mr. President for award of some contracts for the rehabilitation and of some roads which are major in the state. And also to thank for Mr. President's intervention in supporting those projects with funds so that people can benefit from those projects. And we are all aware that we had also an abandoned project with our airport, which we also plead with Mr. President to intervene so that we can have those projects completed. So in a short note, these are the issues there. And Mr. President has responded well, and he has noted all our concerns, and he has promised to promptly address the issues.
On security, sir,
on the security, Mr. President has committed himself that there is going to be increase in the number of troops that will be deployed in the state and assets for the military, and also he has promised intervention with air power so that, and he also said he will intervene because the last time the Chief of Army Staff visited Katsina, he promised to establish a battalion in the southern part of the state, and also there was a promise by the IG to establish a squadron of mobile policemen in the southern part of the state. And the President said he's going to intervene to make sure that it quickly take effect.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
This is the consequence of the vote you voted. And it's too early to cry now because actually the real problem hasn't come. This is the consequence of the vote you voted. And it's too early to cry now because actually the real problem hasn't come.
Not yet. So that's the Rada governor of Katsina. And according to him, he told the media, and they blasted it everywhere. They said Tinubu has given an immediate marching order to the military that they must go and provide security for them in Katsina. He doesn't want to hear anything about Fulani terrorists and all of that. But guess what? In Katsina, this is how the Fulanis and the locals relate in Nigeria. They are superstars. People were there taking their pictures, they were there posting with the locals and all that. Even though the locals are also complaining that because they have been very nice to these terrorists. The terrorists, whenever they come into town, they just go into the shops and pick whatever they want. Milk, food, you know, name it. Anything they want, once they see them in the shops, they pick them, they don't pay. And the locals don't have to complain. But if they if they complain, right, then they will have to choose between getting wiped out and ending in the refugee camps, or just let them take whatever they want whenever they come into town. That is Bokwari's state, Katsina, in northern part of Nigeria. No wonder Ahmed Datti Baba Ahmed, Peter Obi's running mate in 2023, was in their studio, was in Channel's studio last night too. discussing the political development in the space, the state of the country, the characters who are the active players in all of this, including the rufai, Kaduna Little Fingers. So according to Datti Baba Ahmed, he said APC, because of power, ended up bringing terrorists into Nigeria to gain power. After gaining power, they get overwhelmed. And right now, they've lost control of it. So it's as long as Nigeria remains in chaos, APCs can always win election, declare themselves, right? He also said that the role played by El Rufai, who traveled to as far as North Africa during the, it was around the time that the Gaddafi, this and that collapsed, and those rebels that they gave weapons to and all of that, they ended up in Nigeria. That Isha said a lot too, and I think you should watch, right? Please.
Believe me, Nigeria is a great country, should be a great country, and we have people destroying us by the hour. Insecurity has been part of APC's game. And Nasiru is saying it, and I think he's right. The government has been paying them.
Well, you don't
Last year, this time, I have facts.
No, the government has said no, they are not paying them.
They are paying them because the reaction of ONSA is not disputing what Nasiru has said.
You are inferring that the NSA should arrest Nasiru
No, I'm not interested.
or collect his statement. But if that happens, there are those in opposition that will say they are going after opposition voices.
There are more ways to counter such a position. I told you about 2015. There, you see, going after a former Nigerian president, trying to kill him. What does that tell you? Something. Before that, what had happened? After Jonathan won in the Supreme Court, they called for dialogue, and those young men nominated a former Nigerian president who took 3 days to repudiate. After those 3 days, go and plot the graph. You will see that between 2012 to 2014, the spikes of attacks around those villages in the northeast skyrocketed because hunger, lack of medicine. Why? Because somebody had stopped sending the recurrent expenses of those people who used to come all the way to Kaduna, collect and then go back, and that's how the cycle went. In protest as to why did you call that name, they couldn't bear it anymore and felt by 2014 the best thing was to go and attempt. It failed. We're lucky. They got Jonathan scared. He thought that, oh, if they kill this man, Nigeria will burn. They provided him with additional cars, more money, and it was all about money. It was all about collecting money. The truth is that somebody had gone to North Africa, negotiated with Gaddafi. Gaddafi, who is was an international terrorist, all over the world, from the far west to the far east, said, I will help you, like I've been doing. I heard there are some young men. There are plans to kill Gaddafi, not in a palace school, but through uprising. If it fails and you become president, I will retire to your country if you become president. If it doesn't fail, right now, he wanted to create a buffer. So he sent Saif al-Islam, go on YouTube and find out, to Niger with money, cash, millions of dollars in his boot, to recruit Tuaregs to go and fight in Libya. Sent his former general to Mali, why you still have insecurity in Mali. In Nigeria, they gave crazy amount of money to that gentleman. Go and help these people with the intention of bringing them to fight in Libya. When Gaddafi died, they sat on the money. They kept on with the recurrent until after mentioning the name, and then they stopped sending the money. They became, now all these things are linked. They wanted Nigeria to burn. if Buhari did not become president in 2015. I contested alongside Buhari for Senate. I contested for Senate in 2011. You have it on YouTube. He said, blood, soaked in blood, the baboon and the, ever since he made that comment, I refused to go and campaign with Buhari. Refused completely. It didn't matter if I lost the Senate seat. I won it eventually. Insecure for a former president to say, you soak in blood. And then there was, Kaduna is my state. There was serious violence in Kaduna. Many houses were burnt. Emir's houses in Ongwansarki, Demna Abba had their houses burnt and all that, simply because of a statement. They went and brought in people from those neighboring places in readiness to remove Jonathan by all means. So the desperation of people to get Jonathan out of power has built up and added to what we call insecurity in Nigeria today.
So you in fact,
this is a fact. But my grudge with Nasiru's statements is that he was part and parcel of APC from 2013. Like he told you, he was one of the architects of it all. All of a sudden, to come and absolve himself and call others. No, Nasiru is part and parcel of all that has been going on. We suffered, we are victims of Nasiru's misrule in Zaria. Go back December 2015, when a war was supposed to have been won in the Northeast. What business, what military and strategic business did an army chief have to come to Zaria for a convocation, not of NDA, graduation of recruits, privates, choosing to follow the route where the Shiites were holding? All these things were orchestrated. They knew the exact hour, the exact minute that he was coming to pass, because they had the technology. And 800 people were killed because they wanted to raise down the temple that was built. These things were carefully doctored and orchestrated.
these are early allegations that you are making, and which one
And
will imagine? One will imagine someone of your status in the society.
Yeah.
Why are you just saying this? Why are you saying this?
Does
it amount to a political gimmick? Or
No.
what exactly are you up to with this?
Shewon, I've been saying it. I said it in your own program. I mentioned the link about North Africa. In your own program, go back and check. Play the archives and see. Wherever I spoke, I linked electoral fraud with insecurity, corruption and insecurity. I have always done this.
I'm worried, actually.
Pain. Believe me.
It's going to sound like conspiracy theory, right? No. Now, here is the difference, okay? For somebody like myself, and what I think I know, which is in the public, I could easily put together something that you can understand that is not so all lodged together like he did. Because if you want to make an expose, an exposition that you think everyone should, please show interest in, then you can't do that unambiguously. Do you get it now? So you must be very clear and straight. You must be clear and straight, like needle. Yeah, needle straight. Yeah. So here is the thing. The history of APC, Egbekegbe, is that of history of violence. In fact, the people who formed the APC at the time, they had one enemy in common, and that was Goodluck Egbere Jonathan. And why? One, Bokwari has been contesting to be president of that contraption since 2003. He contested 2003, 2007, against Yaradua. Now, in 2011, when it was projected in the north that Bokuwari possessed a sort of like a cult following, where is more or less like the most influential politician in northern Nigeria. And that was something that they eventually built to this godlike image for him, that those who were following him didn't believe that anybody could defeat him in an election. So in 2011, Goodluck Egbere Jonathan defeated him, and that led to a serious riot by his supporters in northern Nigeria. People were slaughtered in states like Bauchi, Jigawa, Kano, and few others. And I'm talking about mass killings. Because of that 2011 defeat of Bokuwari, more than 400 people were slaughtered, including 7 NYSC coppers. So then Bokuwari cried and said, it's no longer doing election again. It's done. Now, a year after 2011, which is like 2012, right? Something hit the country. That was the, what you called the subsidy removal protest, if you remember. So they built on that. There's something happened in between to start with, so which made Jonathan, the second thing that made him their target was that Atiku and others who returned back to PDP after forming APC. Atiku believed that there was an agreement between Goodluck Egbere Jonathan and the North that was supposed to just do one term and go. And he said, no, he will do second term. So because of that, a new PDP was created. Again, because of Jonathan. Tifnumbu, who at the time had his own regional party called ACN, had met with Jonathan in 2011, collected $2 billion overall, true story. Then he saw a weak man, a chance that he could actually become president himself, but it won't make sense as a Southerner to challenge Egbere Jonathan. So it won't be a bad idea. I mean, it's a political thing that everybody in the country knew what was going on. So strange bedfellows decided to come together. Desperate guys whose interest was just to get power. Now, the idea of using terrorism, right, to get rid of him was muted by the likes of this rufai and gang. And they set the work in motion, starting with the kidnapping of Chibok girls. Boko Haram took over almost everywhere. The threat of them probably like killing the president concept was pretty much high. And the whole country, to some extent, they were able to, remember the North was already in the back for Bokuwari. The remaining work they needed was on the South, which were Tifnumbu offered. The media, the propaganda, the lies and all that going on, the intensification, like they intensified the terrorism so much that even those who were kind of like defending Egbere Jonathan at the time, they felt like they were doing so, risking their lives, trying to talk people out of. So the whole thing was orchestrated. The Tuareg, the Boko Haram, and every other terrorist that you can find in the Sahel, they found their way down to northern Nigeria. It was massive. And to max it all, the Fulani terrorists were also told that they could be coming to Nigeria. They are fine. Goodluck Egbere Jonathan was so kind of like, I don't know, it was probably like so threatened enough that at a point he came out and he said, his election is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. Because he saw through them, he saw that they had plotted that they were going to burn down the country. It was obvious. Jonathan won't go. They were saying it. They will form a parallel government against him. Right? They will give him a backboard treatment. A backboard treatment. They will enter inside the Aso Rock. Yeah, people will die. Not them or other people's children will die. But they will drag him out of that place. It was so tense. Then they took power. Now, this time, it was time for them to kind of cement it. Yeah, El Rufai once said now.
Look, if we have to pay you not to kill our people, we're happy to do it.
Is that the only solution that you're adopting, to pay them to stop the killing?
That is the only solution we can see. If anyone has a better solution, he should give us. If you have somebody in Guinea that you cannot prove is responsible for this,